Then we have the House and Senate. They voted unanimously to declassify all intelligence related to the origins of COVID. Senator Mike Braun, the great state of Indiana, Republican, joins us this morning. Mr. Senator, why hasn't the president signed this, letting us see what the intelligence people have got?
Well, first of all, he's maybe got a little excuse because the House is not back in session to where he's going to get it until next week. But he's spouted off about a lot of things in terms of saying he's going to veto it or not plenty of times before. Stu, this is almost hard to concoct in terms of how this came about. 2 years ago, we passed it in the Senate, but they had no thinking that it would ever get to the House and have any action. They were correct. Pelosi was running the show then. It happened again now, and in my time here, having every senator on it and every representative, that was 419 to 0, he is going to have to sign this thing, and we will finally give Senator Rubio a lot of help in terms of what we've been holding in our own coffers in terms of agencies, classified material. So a lot is going to hit the market here on what happened there.
I hate to go back to this, Senator, but do you think China has something on our president, namely Hunter Biden?
Well, there's never been a family that's had more proximity to someone like the Bidens and China. And it's been going on for a good while. So I can't speculate there, but who knows what you find when you open up intel like this. The American public needs it. I mean, it's behind our current financial issues when we put that big based upon COVID navigation. The Fed ended up accommodating all of it. And Stu, it's behind all the issues we're seeing now in the banking industry. It goes back to what we did navigating through COVID. We deserve to know how it originated.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Senator, President Biden, in my opinion, wants to control pension money, our pension money, through these ESG rules. Well, the House and the Senate voted to overturn those rules. Do you now expect President, he's so committed to climate change that he will veto this measure? You expect a veto?
So he's been clear about that one. He's hesitant, though, because it's bipartisan. He said he's going to veto, so I expect he will. And that, again, is causing all the issues in this country, Stu. We're trying to take an enterprising federal government that not only through the bipartisan stuff, they doubled down for 2 years, borrowing all this money from our kids and grandkids for their latest and craziest ideas. Who in their right mind would want our 401k managers to be using woke ideology to guide how you might invest it? And that's exactly what was going on at the bank as well. So a lot of that comes home to roost.
We've got the banking crisis reappearing today. Where do you stand on bailouts? If any kind of bailout were required, are you with it or against it?
I'm going to be for holding to the standards that only deposits get insured up to the $250,000. And you can do many ways to expand that by being thoughtful on having it at different banks. This whole issue of getting rid of moral hazard, I mean, I've heard $8 trillion worth of demand deposits. Where does this start and stop? No bailouts. They ought to be only insured up to that $250,000. To spread that risk out by going to different institutions. Where do you start and stop with government? The other side of the aisle seems to have no place that you stop. That's why we're $31 trillion in debt.
On the other hand, if a bailout is on the cards and you don't bail out, can you stand a crash, Mr. Senator? Because that could happen.
That's a great question, and it should be the essence. This is not '08. That's when the whole banking system from top to small regionals were doing things I never heard of in business school, like credit default swaps and bundled securitized mortgages. This is more narrow, and these banks, by the way, even though they're large, that's in absolute dollars, they're small relative to banking assets. I'm about letting some of these places fail, stay on top of it. This is not '07, '08. Okay. That was systemic. This is not.
Senator Mike Braun, Republican senator from the state of Indiana. Sir, thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again soon.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir.